Today's headlines. President Rodrigo Duterte is expected to meet with other world leaders at the sidelines of the APEC summit in Vietnam. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency arrests 2 Nigerian drug syndicate members in a buy-bust operation. Authorities report about 9,000 families displaced by the fighting in Marawi City have returned to their homes. And Tropical Depression Salome threatens to bring heavy rains over Luzon and Visayas. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte and the rest of the Philippine delegation are in Da Nang, Vietnam since last night to attend the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC, which will be attended by world leaders like Russian President Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump. Our News and Information Bureau Director Virginia Gigi Arcilia Agtay has this report.
President Rodrigo Duterte's plane touched down at the Da Nang International Airport Wednesday evening, where he was received by Philippine Ambassador to Vietnam Noel Survignon. Upon arrival, President Duterte proceeded to the hotel, where he is billeted for the rest of his 3-day stay to attend the 25th Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Economic Leaders Meeting. The President is set to discuss regional economic integration and lessons learned from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations in his keynote speech at the APEC CEO Summit at the Ariana Da Nang Exhibition and Convention Center. President Duterte is also scheduled to participate at the plenary session of the APEC Business Advisory Council Dialogue with APEC leaders at the Furuma Resort, Da Nang on Friday. As this year's ASEAN chairman, Duterte would lead other ASEAN leaders during the first ever dialogue of APEC and ASEAN heads. The landmark event is an important milestone for a dialogue on regional economic integration between APEC and ASEAN. On Friday night, the President will join other APEC leaders at the gala dinner and cultural performance at the Sheraton Da Nang Resort and Spa. President Duterte is also scheduled to participate in a whole day of discussions with the APEC heads during the retreat at the Intercontinental Da Nang Resort on Saturday. At the sidelines of the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting, President Duterte is expected to meet with various world leaders like Russian President Vladimir Putin, Vietnamese President Tran Dai Quang, Chinese President Xi Jinping, and Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam. President Duterte is also expected to have a bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, who is next year's APEC chairman. Among the topics to be discussed in his meetings with world leaders are how to counter terrorism and radicalization, as well as business cooperation, business, trade, and investment. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs has underscored the importance of the APEC to the Philippines as a regional economic bloc, noting that 9 out of the country's top 10 trading partners are APEC countries. For the PNA Newsroom, this is Gigi Arcilia Agtay reporting.
The Philippine National Police declared the case of the killing of a Grab driver in Pasay City last October 26 as closed. This after the PNP presented the suspect identified as Narc Tulo de Lemios to the media at Camp Crame. De Lemios became the subject of a manhunt after he was identified as the person behind the shooting and killing of Grab driver Gerardo Maquigato. The suspect reportedly posed as a Grab passenger using his girlfriend's phone. He tried to rob Maquidato but ended up shooting him. He then stole and drove Maquidato's Toyota Innova van, which was recovered by police in Tarlac City. De Lemios surrendered to authorities in his home in Barangay Santo Niño in Pasay City. The Department of National Defense maintains that there are no Chinese ships blockading Sandy Cay and other sandbars owned by the Philippines in the Kalayaan Island Group. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana stressed that fishermen from China and the Philippines were in the same area by incident. Lorenzana admitted that the Philippines stopped construction of fishermen's shelters in Sandy Cay after China protested the move. He explained that both countries agreed to maintain status quo in the islands for the meantime. There will be no occupation of a new feature. The Philippines had brought in troops to build the shelters. President Duterte ordered to stop the construction last August. Lorenzana disclosed that no Chinese ships arrived and told Filipino troops to stay away and that the matter was handled through diplomatic channels. President Rodrigo Duterte admitted that he was offended by the statement of former Dangerous Drugs Board Chair Dionisio Santiago against the Mega Drug Rehabilitation Center in Nueva Ecija. Santiago said in media interviews that the rehab project was a mistake. Duterte said Santiago should have sought an audience with him and told him in private his opinion on the matter. He said he placed Santiago in the DDB to advise him on how to be more effective in their campaign against illegal drugs and not to blabber in public about his misgivings with the government. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency arrested 2 Nigerians in a buy-bust operation in Cavite. The 2 Nigerians were caught in a joint operation led by PDEA along Centennial Road in Kawit Wednesday morning. The suspects tried to sell close to 1 kilo of suspected methamphetamine hydrochloride or shabu worth 6 million pesos to an undercover agent. PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino said the 2 were suspected members of the African Drug Syndicate. They are actively engaged in large-scale distribution of shabu in Bicol Region, Calabarzon, and National Capital Region. Their identities were acquired from other suspects arrested in a buy-bust operation in Naga City last November 4. Aquino said PDEA has taken 815 anti-illegal drug campaigns as of November 8. He admitted their work is made more challenging with foreign drug groups entering the country with the help of corrupt officials. The PDEA chief identified the Chinese triad Sinaloa Group from Mexico and the ADS are the 3 major players in the illegal drug business in the country. The Social Security Commission, or SSC, welcomed the move of the House of Representatives to investigate 4 Social Security system officials allegedly involved in corruption. Lawmakers called to investigate the SSS officials who allegedly tapped the agency's stockbrokers for their personal gains. The SSC said it has formed a committee to investigate the 4 executives. It added that it welcomes and supports the forthcoming congressional probe as well as participation of other government agencies to ensure that the investigation will be complete. The 4 SSS officials are facing serious dishonesty and grave misconduct charges. In a complaint filed by SSS Commissioner Jose Gabriel Lavinia, the officials supposedly traded and profited from personal stocks by using SSS stockbrokers. Still to come, the Department of Finance and Japan work together on financing 3 major infrastructure projects. Authorities report about 9,000 families displaced by the fighting in Marawi City have returned to their homes. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues. The Department of Finance, or DOF, is working on the funding requirements for 3 major infrastructure projects which may possibly receive assistance from the government of Japan. The projects that will require Japanese funding are the proposed Metro Manila Subway, the Cavite Industrial Area Flood Risk Management Project, and the Malolos-Clark Railway. Japan's pledges are expected to be issued during Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's visit to the Philippines for the ASEAN Summit. The DOF said the Cavite Flood Control Project was among those approved by the Investment Coordination Committee Cabinet Committee and the Board of the National Economic and Development Authority last June. The project is expected to benefit some 8,000 households in the province. It received a pledge for official development assistance financing from the Japanese government in August. The Malolos-Clark Railway project also secured approvals last June and is up for a possible pre-pledge from Japan this November. The Department of Finance recorded a 200% increase in excise tax payments in September and October from Mighty Corporation following its takeover by Japan Tobacco Incorporated. Mighty paid a total of 2.071 billion pesos in September and October 2016. For the same period this year, the amount of excise tax payments from Mighty's excise tax payments increased to 6.2 billion pesos, or an increase by 200%. The DOF said Japan Tobacco is expected to pay almost 40 billion out of the estimated 118 billion in total excise tax collections on tobacco products for fiscal year 2018. This is equal to a third of the total revenue collections from the excise tax on cigarettes. Japan Tobacco took over Mighty's operations in September after Mighty sold its assets to settle its tax liabilities. The government stands to gain 30 billion pesos from the settlement. About 9,000 families have returned to Marawi City long after the end of hostilities. In an update by the ARMM Humanitarian Emergency Assistance Response Team, the displaced families returned to 9 of the villages in Marawi City that were declared safe by the military. The Marawi Social Welfare Office is currently assisting the returning evacuees. Authorities said more residents are eager to return home now that the 5-month battle by government forces to retake the city from the hands of ISIS-inspired terrorists has ended. Marawi City has some 210,000 residents. Davao City has been nominated again for the Presidential Award for Child-Friendly Municipalities and Cities. Davao City won the award in 1998, 1999, 2013, 2014, and 2015. This year, the city is facing Iloilo, Baguio, and Parañaque for the Most Child-Friendly Award. The city's Social Services and Development Office said Davao City was always conscious in keeping the welfare of children at the center of its agenda. Among the programs established by the city government was the Kian Gabriel Hotline, a brainchild of Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio. The child abuse reporting number has rescued 483 abused children since it was established. The city government has put up the Quick Response Team for Children's Concern, which rescues, investigates, and documents cases of sexual exploitation and atrocities against children. The city also allocated 50 million pesos for the establishment, operation, and maintenance of residential facilities. Davao City stands to be elevated to the Hall of Fame if the city wins. Rescuers reached the ill-fated Cessna plane that crash-landed in a forested portion of Sierra Madre Mountains. The Philippine Army 7th Infantry Division said the rescuers safely found the passengers of the plane, identified as flight instructor Captain Albert Galban and student trainee Alexis Trinidad. Trinidad was immediately given first aid for unspecified injuries. The Cessna plane crashed in the boundary of Nueva Ecija and Aurora Province around noon last Tuesday. The instructor and the student pilot had left the Lingayen airstrip in Pangasinan for a cross-country flight en route to Baler, Aurora when the incident happened. The Games and Amusements Board, or GAB, will now be more serious in imposing its authority on the Philippine Basketball Association. GAB Commissioner Marma Sanggid said the board will make itself more visible in PBA's affairs. He said that the GAB chair or commissioners should be seated close to the PBA officials like retained Commissioner Chito Narvasa. A GAB representative is expected to be present even as a witness during the special PBA awards. The GAB seal should also be inside the PBA venues. The GAB is the government agency handling professional sports like basketball, boxing, motocross, golf, cockfighting, horse racing, and esports. The board is now also looking on the online gambling of cockfighting and horse racing, as well as increasing its presence in other professional sports. Up next, Boracay hosts a key meeting of delegates in the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit. Tropical Depression Salome threatens to bring heavy rains over Luzon and Visayas. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Ito po,
Ilan po yung kwarto dito, ma'am?
mga 9 po.
9 rooms.
33 people are staying here.
Oh, so 33 people are staying here, 9 rooms, common kitchen.
Yes.
So yan ang kanilang shawaran. Ito yung CR nila. 6 square meters yung kwarto. Tapos dyan kayo ng asawa mo. Isa pang ano yan, mag-asawa sa kabila. Oh, kurtina lang pagitan. So, kawawa naman yung mga OFWs. They sacrifice. They work. They sleep only a few hours. And then, naabuso pa dito. Ito po ang Deira. This is the heart and soul of the Filipino community dito sa Dubai. Dito sa Dubai, there are about 460,000 OFWs scattered all over, including the other Emirates. Now, 40% ng 460,000 na mga Pilipino dito ay mga professionals. At the other 40%, ito naman yung mga nagtatrabaho sa service sector. Yung mga nagtatrabaho sa malls, restaurants. 20% ay yung mga domestic helpers o yung mga kababayan natin na nangangamuhan sa mga taga-Dubai. Maraming mga OFWs dito sa Dubai na maayos ang buhay, may trabaho. Meron ding mga distressed na mga OFWs. So, halo-halo yung kaso nila. Meron yung mga nabuso ng mga amo, meron din yung mga kulang yung pagkain, mababa sweldo.
The mother goes out, endures the hours of working, eating garbage, working their backs to death. Sometimes there are allegations of rape and brutality.
May mga amo na minamaltrato po kami.
Just to be able to send money so that they are poor but their children can study and hope that someday they would have improved their lives.
Hindi po ako pinakain. Hindi po binigay sa akin yung sahod ko. Nag-istila po ako doon na walang-wala po ako, sir.
Yan ang masakit sa akin. Suffering, lack of sleep, lack of food. They send the money all here only to be eaten by the drugs and that is my agony too. And to my sorrow, because I am a president of the poor country.
Boracay is set to host a key meeting of ASEAN delegates this November 14 to 17. Organizers said Boracay will be holding the meeting on the ASEAN Intellectual Property Office. The venue will be held at the Henan Resort. Rowan Aguirre, Executive Director of the Joint Task Force Boracay, said task force members are now on red alert to ensure the safety of the arrival of both the organizers and ASEAN delegates. Members of the task force include the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Philippine National Police, and Philippine Coast Guard, among others. Boracay previously hosted the ASEAN meeting last February. Delegates to the 31st ASEAN Summit took time to visit and view the Journey of Rice exhibition at the Clark Museum. The Rice exhibit was presented to the members of the National Organizing Committee and ambassadors, including U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines, Sung Kim. The exhibit represents the persistence of the farmers of Pampanga in sustaining the province's rice supply and preserving their farming heritage. Visitors are informed on the 4-month growth period of rice from seed to plate through an animation series. Displays include traditional rice varieties, which the Kapampangan farmers passed down through generations. The Journey of Rice is completed with a call of the proper way of eating rice and eating its healthy forms, such as brown rice and rice mixes. The people of Tawi-Tawi celebrated the arrival of the founder of Islam in the Philippines 6 centuries ago. The festival is one of many highlights being promoted to boost tourism in the province. PNA editor Benj Bondoc has the report.
The autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao marked the 637th Sheikh Karimul Makdum Day in Simunul Town, Tawi-Tawi. ARMM Governor Mujib Hataman led the festival, which celebrates the arrival of Arab missionary Sheikh Karimul Makdum in Simunul over 6 centuries ago. The event showcases how people treasure the advent and practice of Islam in the Philippines. It also marked the start of the 28th ARMM anniversary celebration. Sheikh Karimul Makdum Day is one of many festivals that attract tourists to Tawi-Tawi. Provincial Tourism Officer Mobin Gampal said the province is experiencing a tourism boom, with visitor arrivals increasing threefolds this year. He said the province and its natural sites attract tourists even as Mindanao is placed under martial law due to the Marawi siege. Gampal said the stable peace and order situation is one factor that entices tourists to visit Tawi-Tawi. He also underscored that accommodation, food, and other amenities in Tawi-Tawi are affordable and generally budget-friendly. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondoc.
The low-pressure area spotted east of the country has developed into a tropical depression that has been named Salome. Pag-asa said Salome was last seen southwest of Huban, Sorsogon. Public storm warning signal number 1 has been raised over Metro Manila and parts of Luzon and Visayas. Series of light to moderate and frequent heavy rainfalls is expected with wind gusts of up to 50 kilometers per hour. Salome is expected to be nearest from Metro Manila tonight as it traverses Batangas. It will then move to Iba, Zambales by Friday morning and is expected to leave the country on Saturday. Pag-asa warns residents against possible landslides and floods. All are strongly advised to stay indoors. Here's another look at today's headlines. President Rodrigo Duterte is expected to meet with other world leaders at the sidelines of the APEC summit in Vietnam. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency arrests 2 Nigerian drug syndicate members in a buy-bust operation. Authorities report about 9,000 families displaced by the fighting in Marawi City have returned to their homes. And Tropical Depression Salome threatens to bring heavy rains over Luzon and Visayas. The holidays are coming soon. It's 46 days before Christmas. For more stories, please log on to www.pna.gov.ph or visit the PNA page on Facebook and Twitter. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm William Theo. Good day.